Welcome to another Hearthstone Whizbang's Workshop card review. This time we got a few here, a couple legendaries, and actually a non-legendary card, a neutral in fact. So the first one we have up here is a Hunter legendary minion, King Plush, 9 mana, 6/6 charge, with Battlecry, return all minions with less attack than this to their owner's decks. Okay, a lot to unpack here, right? First and foremost, this is still a charge minion. It is 2 damage less than King Crush, yes, and that's something I had to get past for a bit. Do you want to play 9 mana worse Fireball in most cases? No, you don't. Do you want to play one with Beast Synergy? No, probably not. I mean, Hunter was already struggling to play King Crush as it was. Battlecry, return all minions with less attack than this to their owner's deck. Not hand, better Vanish. In most cases, better Vanish. It's not going to wipe like an entire board, but you can also hand buff this with Buzzard. There's another card that benefits with Buzzard here later. I'll show you. So this card scales well with hand buffs. It deals damage, has Beast Synergy, it clears the board, it does something that Hunter does not do a lot of. This is another point that a friend of mine actually brought up to me that kind of stuck with me. Originally, I was not hot on this card. I was actually willing to give this one, when I did the review, a thumbs down. But in a world where there is slower Hunter decks, and I don't mean control, I just mean they're not trying to kill you turn 5. They may, but they're not trying to. I think this can do it. That battle cry of effectively clearing the board, turn 9 against aggro decks will be rough, but if you're already competing for the board, you might be able to last until that point. This might have legs. I'm going to tentatively, and I've done this with the other 2 cards so far, I'm going to give King Plush a thumbs up. I think this card might see play in some of those slower decks that I'm talking about, or anything that'd be able to hand buff this a little bit. I'm imagining playing against Rainbow DK where they're putting out 8/8s and 10/10s and things like that. I like the concept of being able to just poof them, deal 6. Seems good, right? I think it's good. 6 or more, even. I'm going to go with King Plush is probably a pretty good card. But next up, we have a Warlock legendary spell. 8 mana, shadow spell, so it's pricey. So let's see if it's worth the price. Wheel of Death, 3 exclamation points. Destroy your deck. All right. In 5 turns, destroy the enemy hero. This is a mixture of a few cards in my head. A little bit of the Jailer, a little bit of that one spell they had once upon a time that destroyed half of, I think, each player's deck. And that 6 mana, 6/6 or whatever, the Death Rattle, where you have 3 turns, kill them, your cards cost less, and then you die. Those are the cards that come to mind with this. This is a just control win condition, right? In like a control lock deck, like, yeah, if you're running against aggro, you probably don't want to just play this or draw it even. That seems not good. But if you're playing against like a control warrior, or you're playing up against like a blood DK, or a priest for that matter, they have 5 turns to kill you. And oftentimes they're not planning on killing you in 5 turns. And Warlock does have naturally good draw. Destroying your deck, you could make sure that your hand is curtailed or curated in a way to give you a desirable outcome. I don't know if this will see play long term. I'm going to give Wheel of Death somewhere in the middle. I'm not going to call it a bad card. I don't think it's a bad card. I think it is a niche win condition in a very slow meta. Imagining a world of Paladins, which won't be the same as they are now, mind you, but imagining a world of Paladins, I'm imagining a world of Demon Hunters, I'm imagining a world of beating you down and drawing this when you needed to draw a AoE, for example. not amazing to do. But I'm not going to throw out the possibility that this could waltz all over a control deck in the future. 5 turns is a long time. Don't get me wrong. But Warlock has a lot of tools, or historically has a lot of tools to just stabilize. So this could be the win condition they needed for those slower matchups. Was Sargeras enough? Not with Reno. You haven't seen a lot of Sargeras since Reno showed up, huh? So I'm going to go with middle of the road for this card. I'm going to say it could potentially see play, but I'm not holding out hope. It does seem really, really fun, though. Next up is a neutral legendary minion. We got 8 mana 6/6 Joymancer Jepetto. Another Hearthstone classic. Battlecry, get copies of every 1 attack or 1 health minion you've played this game. So, this one's interesting. Not exactly the same as the old Jepetto, but it follows like a similar theme, so to speak. There's a couple cards that stick out to me that might be worth running alongside this, or might be worth slotting Jepetto into your hand for. Because if you play enough of them, this draws 1, 2, 3, 4, who knows how many cards draws. It puts copies into your hand, but copies are copies, right? Like, more of a good card. They're a card you wanted to play. I'm thinking about the Cobalt Miner. It's an Excavate card, so 1 mana, 1/1. It's guaranteed to get by the Jepetto. Gold Panner is one that comes to mind. Not very good, I think, to pull off of this, but it would show up in your pull. The Buzzard and Hunter. That's what I was referencing earlier. The Buzzard could absolutely come back. It's another hand buff tool. The Peacekeeper, the Paladin Titan card, can actually be pulled by this. So you could get another Paladin Titan. This could easily fit into a Reno Paladin deck. The Priest has the Automatons. This can pull. This could flood your hand with Automatons. That's another one to consider. Priest isn't losing a lot of their cloning tools. So that deck, this is like more gas. You're going to have the Pip Legendary. You're going to have Jepetto. The Automaton Priest is the one to keep your eyes on. In my personal opinion, I think I would keep my eyes on that one. The Absorbent Parasite in Hunter as well. That could also be a card that could see some play. The other one that sticks out to me is Druid's 2 hero power cards. This will actually get you 2 more of those. I don't know if that's overkill. I don't know if that deck works. They seem to be reworking Druid into an entirely different direction now. Away from ramping and away from bigger decks like that, or at least like getting into them quickly, and more into something else. They definitely have a different design philosophy with Druid right now. But those Druid hero power cards are still in there. And there was that one card that is going to be in the core set that is going to synergize well with the gaining armor and the gaining attack. So you could draw more copies of those cards and put them in your hand. So Joymancer Jepetto, I think, will probably find its home in a couple decks, so that's why I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I think this card's good. It just draws you a lot of resources. And I don't think decks like Automaton Priest had that critical mass just yet, because they're on the cusp. And if this manages to push that kind of deck to like a tier 2 consistently, or maybe lower tier 2, then I think this card is good enough to give a thumbs up. It's doing the job of the card. It is getting an archetype up past that threshold of mediocrity into actually viable to regularly climb with. And that's where I put Automaton Priest. That's the one to keep on your radar, I think. Reno Paladin as well. I would not ignore this in Reno Paladin. Next up is actually the last card I want to show off here in this video, and it is a non-legendary minion. It is the Sweetened Snowflurry. This was shown alongside Jepetto. It's a 3-mana 3/3 elemental with miniature eyes, so you're going to get another one of these. Battlecry, get 2 random temporary frost spells. Temporary is important. I don't know. So, in any old random deck, I would just give this thumbs down. I don't think this is good. I don't think you'd run this. You probably aren't going to be able to get to play those. Later in the game, this would give you, like, some outs, maybe. But I think where this shines, and we have seen a little bit of support, and I think it's almost there, Elemental Shaman. Specifically not because of the frost spells. although this could get you some useful things in there. Specifically, the Miniaturize. This gives you another elemental to play immediately after. Think of like Firefly. This is 2 elementals in 1. This keeps the chain going, like guaranteed. Not that Elemental Shamans seem to have much of a problem with that. That wasn't really the problem of the deck. But I talked about critical mass before. And the idea of critical mass being you could have all the tools you need, but you need to pass a certain line, a certain amount, a certain threshold of these powerful cards and effects without it being overkill. Win more cards is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about passing the threshold of this consistent effect that you want to be happening all the time. And you do just want more elementals. You want your hand to always have elementals. You want things to be benefiting off of you constantly playing elementals. And as the game goes on, getting a couple random frost spells to just potentially chuck out there, I don't think that's bad. And you want to be playing that 1-mana one a little bit later when you're running out of reliable elementals to play in the mid game. So I'm going to also give this one like a middle of the road because I don't know if I'm more high on like the Automaton Priest for Jepetto for this, a little less high on Elemental Shaman, but it is a pet deck of mine and I want it to succeed. So I think the Snowflurry will be tried out in that deck. Will it see the most refined cuts of it? I don't know. But I think it's worth trying out exclusively for the miniaturized aspect of it. And those are the cards here. We had the King Plush, we had the Wheel, we had Jepetto, and we have the Snowflurry. Comment what you think is the most exciting card out of these for you. Do you think you have any ideas for Jepetto that I wasn't thinking about? Or even some crackpot theories with the Wheel or with King Plush? I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.